So this is an interesting video. It's on New York Post, and it's 2025, an explosive year in politics. Let's take a look and listen in.
2025 began with the funeral of former President Jimmy Carter and the inauguration of President Donald Trump. Due to cold weather, the ceremony was moved to the Capitol Rotunda.
So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
By the way, it's shocking that we are only 1 year into the Trump administration. He has done so much, so fast. He is an absolute machine.
Withdrawal from the Paris Climate Treaty, DEI and woke policies, refugee admission, crisis at the border, public safety threats.
So this is January 6th.
Presidential pardon, that's what we got. Nobody gets those, people like me.
The Trump administration continues immigration enforcement.
The Pentagon is set to send active duty troops to help secure the southern border.
How did you see that? There was a collision
between a commercial plane and a military helicopter, America's deadliest aviation disaster in nearly a quarter century.
I'd like to request a moment of silence for the victims and their families, please.
President Trump's favorite economic tool is the tariff.
Tariffs on Mexico, on Canada, on China.
You added 120,000 jobs.
Executive order to ban men from competing in women's sports. It's about time.
The first time in history flying over the recently renamed Gulf of America.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Indian King Abdullah.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
French counterpart Emmanuel Macron.
Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Trump has cut short talks with Ukraine's leader.
Your country's in big trouble. Wait a minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
Trump wanted to solve that Ukraine war and that Ukraine situation and bring an end to that as soon as possible. It's one of his first initiatives in his new term. And it did get, early on, it got heated between him and the prime minister or the president of Ukraine with the back and forth. And I believe it's still an ongoing conflict. So that's been a very difficult situation.
Pamela Bondi, Tulsi Gabbard,
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We solemnly swear.
First cabinet meeting of...
Unbelievable, by the way, that Tulsi Gabbard, a lifelong Democrat and a member of the Democratic Party, was on Trump's list for cabinet members, director of national security, or director of I forget the department that she's in, but it's a very important department that oversees like a lot of different things in the technology space and the way that people are monitored by the government and things like that. So also Robert F. Kennedy, amazing that as a lifelong Democrat. I mean, John F. Kennedy was the president of the United States, was a Democrat. So was Ted Kennedy, was a Democrat as well, I believe, in the Senate. So unbelievable that the Democrats really, 80% of America is in the middle, and they really came together, and we pushed out the extremes, and that's what happened.
President Trump's second term.
One of the most important initiatives is DOGE.
We're here at USAID headquarters. They've been given 15 minutes to go inside and bring all their personal belongings out.
This is what democracy looks like. Arrest Elon Musk.
And to my fellow citizens, America is back. DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. Secret Service Director, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
A well-known Palestinian activist at Columbia University was arrested by ICE agents.
Secretary Rubio reserves the right to revoke the visa of Mahmoud Khalil.
Yeah, I forgot about this guy. He was leading all the protests, all the college campus protests up in the New York City area. A lot of anti-Semitic protests going on during the Biden administration, and it kind of tried to transition into the beginning of the Trump administration. But they were not going for that. They were looking to deal with that head on, and I think that was a huge accomplishment. You don't hear about a lot of this nonsense anymore. These were most likely paid protesters, and the universities really, I believe a lot of these universities are very corrupt, taking money from foreign governments like in the UAE and Qatar and Saudi Arabia and Iran and these Palestinian, like these radical countries, investing in universities like China and just creating chaos and havoc in America.
Campus now!
The Trump administration has sent hundreds of immigrants to El Salvador and Honduras.
A journalist was added to a Signal chat where Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth detailed U.S. airstrikes on Yemen Houthis.
The Secretary of Defense did something that was reckless.
Nobody's texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about it.
Trump is the first U.S. president to serve as chairman of the Kennedy Center.
We're making a lot of changes. Pretty much.
Yeah, and they just actually put his name. It's the Donald J. Trump and John F. Kennedy Center now. So.
Everything needs a lot of work. My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. As they charge us, we charge them. We charge them less, so how can anybody be upset? Very happy Easter to everyone.
At 7:35 this morning, Pope Francis died. He was 88 years old. He was history's first Latin American pope.
President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met before the funeral service for Pope Francis in the Vatican.
Yeah, there's been
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney.
There's been intense talks with Volodymyr Zelensky all year. I mean, I believe that the Ukraine war was one of Donald Trump's top priorities, and he's continued to really address it and keep it front of mind. And still, they're, I believe, still trying to calm that situation down.
Says he will meet with President Trump.
We don't need anything from Canada. When I say they should be a state, I mean that.
It's not for sale, won't be for sale, ever.
But never say never. Never say never.
President Donald Trump travels to the Middle East.
Yeah, Canada may not be for sale, but if the American people stop subsidizing Canada, they'll go bankrupt and they're a failing country. If it wasn't for their proximity and relationship to the United States of America, they would basically be nothing. I mean, London and Great Britain have already basically fallen to, radical Islam and the Muslims from Saudi Arabia and Qatar and all of that influence. So, what is Canada really?
Reportedly, he'll accept a luxury Boeing jumbo jet from the royal family of Qatar.
They're giving us a free jet. I could say no, or I could say thank you very much.
Elon Musk is criticizing the Trump legislative agenda.
Elon Musk is leaving his government role as a top advisor to President Donald Trump.
My friend, and he's done a fantastic job. He didn't need this.
President Trump is responding aggressively to protests over his immigration policies in Los Angeles.
Tensions escalating in Los Angeles as members of the National Guard use rubber bullets and tear gas to control thousands of protesters.
Opponents of President Donald Trump's administration are rallying in hundreds of cities during the military.
It's crazy that they had these No Kings protests, because when Democrats were in power under Barack Obama twice, 2 terms, and under Joe Biden with the auto pen, you had them pushing legislation through, executive orders, basically running the country on executive orders and doing kind of like end rounds around Congress every chance that they could. So, I mean, they've been acting like kings, and there's nothing new. Whoever's in charge, their agenda is the agenda, and that's the bottom line from the American people, so deal with it.
Parade in Washington, which also happens to coincide with Trump's birthday.
President Donald Trump says a ceasefire between Iran and Israel is in effect after the deal initially faltered, leaving Trump frustrated with both sides.
They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
After nearly 27 hours of debate, Senate Republicans passed President Donald Trump's signature bill.
Republicans in the House hope to quickly pass President Donald Trump's tax and spending cuts package.
The motion is adopted.
Listen, the bottom line, the way I feel about this, I feel like taxation is theft. And that's the bottom line. Taxation is theft. And that's why you see a lot of these programs getting looted at the state level in California, where they're basically bankrupt, in Minnesota, where you've got Somalians from another country that are just completely looting programs blind. Taxation is theft. They're taking our money away from us, and it piles up into accounts, and then people just steal from it. And they find ways to cheat us and to rob us and to steal from us. And taxation is theft. Anything that lowers taxes Personally, I feel like in this country, if you make less than $150,000 as an individual, less than $250,000, $250,000 as a couple, you should not pay any kind of a federal income tax. And if the state tries to tax you like they do in the Democrat states like New York and California and Illinois, those state taxes, you should be able to write those off. Somehow there should be some kind of where that money comes back to you. You know, this is ridiculous. And these social programs that we have, like Medicare and Medicaid, Social Security, all that money that they take out of our paychecks, that money should go, instead of going into a Social Security account where when it starts to bloat, the government wastes it, that money should be routed directly into either an HSA, a health savings account, or an IRA. Actually, a combination of the two is best. A health savings account, where that money should be routed from every one of our paychecks automatically, and it should function like an IRA, and it should be invested in the market, like S&P 500 or like an index fund. But it should have to be invested in a very, very safe, sure index, like S&P 500, or like like an index fund that's just generally across the entire market, because it would strengthen our economy and strengthen companies in the market, and B, it puts the money that is a large amount of money is taken out of our check for Social Security, which frankly will not even probably be there when I need it. They're either going to raise the age into the 70s where it's unrealistic, or they are just going to frankly be bankrupt. And either of those is wrong. They should be putting that money in a privatized health savings account in the individual taxpayer's name, at least the Social Security money from each check. It should be growing in the market in like an IRA, invested in a fund, an index fund. And when we retire, we should even be able to access it, frankly, when we turn, like, say, 55 years old. It shouldn't even be tied to retirement. When you're 55 years old, you have access to that account. If you need money to pay off your house, if you want to pay off some debt, things like that. If you want to invest in a family member's college education, whatever the case may be. But, taxation is definitely theft.
I think this is one of the saddest days in modern American history.
President Trump is mourning the victims of the flash flooding in Texas last weekend.
My deepest sympathy to all of the parents who lost beautiful young souls.
Jeffrey Epstein is back in the news.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
President Trump headed to Alaska for his summit with President Putin of Russia.
There was no deal reached on a ceasefire, as Trump had promised. Now all eyes are turning to Ukrainian President.
When it ends, I can't tell you, but the war is going to end.
President Donald Trump says he's deploying the National Guard to make the nation's capital safer.
The Trump administration has asked a military base outside of Chicago for support on immigration operations.
The Vice President and the Secretary of Defense made an unannounced visit to Union Station today.
It's unbelievable how many different issues he has addressed all at once, from the war in Ukraine to immigration, closing down the border and militarizing it for our safety and protection, targeting the worst of the immigrants first, who are criminals, mentally ill, released from prisons in countries like Venezuela, gang members. They're going after the violence first, and then we figure out the rest as we go. But first and foremost, in his first year, he's done a great job. So many issues across the board.
Charlie Kirk is dead after being shot during an event at a Utah college.
Please rise for a moment of prayer for Charlie Kirk and his family.
None.
Frankly, this is sad. I love Charlie Kirk. I wouldn't say I'm a conspiracy theorist, but there's too many things about that situation that really make me feel like I don't know if he really is dead, to be honest with you, and not just in a CIA witness protection program. They started construction at the site where the assassination supposedly occurred immediately and started digging up that field, and they really destroyed the crime scene. And I believe they say that in that field there was an underground tunnel system right where his tent was set up for the Turning Point USA rally. And they did no autopsy. I don't believe his parents were present at the memorial service at Arizona Cardinals Stadium. And also, it's just, they're saying that the guy got shot by a guy on a roof. Like, with a 30-06. I mean, it just didn't make any sense. There was no real footage. A 30-06, or a rifle from long range would have done a lot of damage. You would have seen a lot of blood. It would have exploded his neck. There's just too many things that make me think this is like maybe something that's political drama. I don't know if it's truly has anybody truly seen the body or seen an autopsy or know where the gravesite is or anything like that. It just is a little fishy to me.
None of us will ever forget Charlie Kirk, and neither now will history.
There's also something about his wife, Erica. I don't know how to explain it, but it just seems like the grief it doesn't seem authentic. I don't know how to say it. It just looks like she's acting.
Donald Trump was coming to Britain for a state visit.
This is the first time that a head of state has been invited with a visible letter.
We'll be having a big discussion tomorrow about autism. So taking Tylenol is not good.
As a mom of a child with autism, I felt like maybe I was being blamed for that.
We're inside one of the Senate office buildings trying to find senators to talk about the government shutdown.
Welcome everybody to day 2, day 3, day 10, day 14 of the Democrat government shutdown.
So I was covering a typical roundtable with President Trump. In the back of the room, Secretary Rubio had stepped in. Once I saw him reach over and grab a notepad, this was out of the ordinary and something was going to happen.
Yeah, I was just given a note by the Secretary of State saying that we're very close to a deal in the Middle East.
U.S. President Donald Trump is due on a one-day tour of the Middle East, meet with world leaders, and discuss more details about the ceasefire.
After 2 harrowing years in darkness and captivity, 20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families.
John Bolton has been charged with...
Former FBI Director James Comey made his first court appearance.
Big crowds of protesters are expected to cross the United States.
We're here because we love America.
We're building a world-class ballroom. For 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom here.
The White House has started demolishing part of the East Wing.
The entire White House East Wing has been demolished. President Trump and New York Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani go from adversaries to a bromance.
Affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay, you can just say I don't mind.
The longest U.S. government shutdown ever has come to an end.
The House has passed a bill to force the Justice Department to publicly release its files on Jeffrey Epstein.
These women have fought the most horrific fight that no woman should have to fight.
Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has said that she's resigning from Congress in January.
It was Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's first visit since the 2018 killing of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
Brutal murder of a journalist.
But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that.
Come on up, Waddle. Welcome to the press briefing room.
You are hereby unconditionally partner.
2 West Virginia National Guard members shot just blocks from...
This was such a sad, tragic story. The National Guardsmen in Washington, D.C. that were, basically assassinated. I believe it was an Afghani national that ran up on them without them really seeing it coming. It was an ambush attack and terrible tragedy.
The White House.
President Trump announced Thanksgiving night one of 2 National Guard members had died.
She's just passed away. She's no longer with us.
So we're stopping the drugs, we're striking the boats, we're defeating narco-terrorists.
Lawmakers in Congress want to know what happened when that boat was struck on September 2nd.
You can't see anything, you got digital. This is called the fog of war.
This is your peace prize.
The world is a safer place now.
Thank you for this bridge payment. It's Christmas early for farmers.
The U.S. Justice Department published thousands of files related to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
We reporters had questions for the president. He did not answer any of them.
First Lady Melania Trump has revealed the White House decorations.
And after just 1 year, we have achieved more than anyone could have imagined.